Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the July 24th, 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting. And as always, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, but also to be followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing for a moment of silence for former Greenwich Selectwoman Cindy Rubicam, who served on this board from 1985 to 1987, who recently passed away. And we keep her family and her in our thoughts and our prayers. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of July 10th, 2025?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. And is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of July 10th, 2025?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Oh, Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I apologize for my voice, but I've been a little under the weather. But going on to the first Selectmen's updates. Good luck to the Cal Ripken Greenwich All-Stars, 12 and under. I visited Pembroke Park last night to wish them good luck. They're heading up to Cooperstown, so we're rooting for them. I know they'll do Greenwich proud. Congratulations to this month's Employees of the Month from Nathaniel Witherall, Minor Quintana, Willie Beresquet, Dominique Saint-Cyr, and Eric Premier. So thank you for a job well done. We've had several from Nathaniel Witherall, so we're proud of the job they're doing and thank them. Tomorrow at 12:30, we'll be at the Cohen Eastern Greenwich Civic Center for the 35th anniversary of the ADA law that was signed into law by President George H.W. Bush back in 1990. And we'll be doing it at the brand new Cohen Eastern Greenwich Civic Center. So it's fitting that we do it there. And as we always continue to mention, everything we do in the last 6 years is ADA compliant and inclusive. So just another example, but also of the public-private partnership that we had there. This Sunday, a little plug for the Sound Beach Community Band. I'll be doing another guest spot conducting there. It's all of about 30 seconds, but I'm sure no one's going there for me, but it should be, I had a lot of fun last year. And just before our TC meeting that night, I went up and practiced with the band. So I'm looking forward to that. That's at 7 o'clock over at Binney Park. And also, just to, while I'm talking about ADA compliance, we are working on, we'll be doing some work here on this building, which is the 100th anniversary of this building, opened 1925 at the old Greenwich High School. And it was a high school here for many years until 1970, and it sat empty for 10 years and opened in, I think, June of 1980 as the town hall. So 100th anniversary for this building, but also we're going to be doing some more ADA compliance construction in the front there, and also to enhance security here little by little. We're also going to be moving more things online, so that will cut down on foot traffic into the building too, so as well as make it more convenient for our residents. And don't forget to pay your taxes. We have a few more days for anybody who waits till the last minute. You have, I think, till, was it Monday? I think it's the last.
Friday, August 1st.
Friday, August 1st.
Last day. And there'll be extended hours Saturday and Friday for the tax collector.
Yes, thank you. And so again, please don't wait until August 1st, because something could happen, right? And you may miss it, and then you're going to incur a fine. So penalty. So with that, I will turn it over to Lauren. Good morning.
Thanks, Fred. Good morning, everyone. Just a brief update today. I know I mentioned the topping off ceremony for Central Middle School new construction. A date has been selected, August 14th. I'm still working with the team for a time because one of the times was suggested for when we are meeting as the Board of Selectmen. So it'll probably be in the afternoon, either 2 o'clock or 2:30. And then I want to make a plug. We are accepting applications for the Riverside Elementary School Building Committee. And I just want to encourage residents who have building committee experience or if they have experience with construction, building, architecture, finance. We do have a lot of applications that we're going to be interviewing, a lot of people with like PTA experience, which doesn't mean they don't have the other experience, but I just want to encourage anyone who has building construction type experience. That would be awesome if you're interested in applying. And that is it for me today.
Okay, 2 short ones. Now on to Janet.
Good morning. So Fred, thank you so much for honoring Cindy Rubicam. The Rubicams were very good friends with my in-laws, so I had the pleasure of meeting Cindy at my own wedding 27 years ago. So thank you for that. She's a lovely person. I have just one update, and that is on Friday, August 15th, the Commission on Aging is celebrating its 50th anniversary with a luau at the Senior Center, and the commission wants us to know that we are invited. We are supposed to arrive in our best Hawaiian. I don't know about that, but we'll try.
Shot. Give it a
We'll
shot.
try. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be a lot of
And
fun.
what's the date on that?
Oh, August 15th, it's a Friday.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a luau luncheon.
Any lunch. Okay, well, we can make that happen, I think. All right. Thanks,
Very
Jan.
good.
Thank you. Okay, it's a very light schedule today, to be followed by an executive session. But on to old business, request for the temporary road closure on St. Rox Avenue. And I see Officer Drenth, and I see Father Lennox here, and I guess that's it from St. Rox. So, Master Technician Drenth, good to see you. Hope you're feeling better.
Much better than the day you took me out.
Yeah. Good to
But
see
don't
you.
forget to put the mic on. Okay.
Green.
Just push the button so it's green. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, there was questions about this. I sent out a map. Did everybody get this? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
should be on
yes.
everyone's packets.
So I spoke with the foreman, Aaron Key. The decision was to be, we would close off at Ham Ave like normal. We would close off at Alexander like normal, but only for southbound traffic. There'll be signs up by Holly Hill saying road closed ahead. The trucks will come in and out on the northbound side from Alexander
Bless you.
into the lot and back. The road will also be closed just south of that, just so that nobody can come into where the feast is taking place in the middle of the road there. Once they get done with their work, I did check with them before I came here today. They may break a little early, and then the feast can move all the way up to Alexander and have the whole road like normal.
Great. Thank you. That's what we were figuring. But thank you for seeing to it and putting it in writing and getting it to us, because we just want to make sure that there was no last minute glitches there. The feast is a big deal to the parish and to the town. So thank you for working on it.
So all questions have been answered?
Well, so I just want to make sure. So that means we've got sign off from the police department as well as Megan D'Amato, our risk assessor.
She said that she would endorse whatever, Megan D'Amato said she would endorse whatever Chief Heavey signed off on, so.
Got it. So
And I'm here in his behalf.
excellent. So in the past, sometimes tables have been set up in the road. Is that part of the plan still?
That's part of the plan from the closure from south of the parking lot there to Hamilton Avenue.
Okay, and obviously that's been okayed
Yeah.
by, okay.
Yeah, they do that every year.
And then, just, so you said there would be signage to explain where the access,
Down at Holly Hill Lane,
And-
when you're coming out of the dump and turning right, there'll be a sign there saying road closed ahead. There's a cutoff herald just before that they can exit out to the left and get back out to Route 1.
got it. And then this is maybe a slightly different question, but in the past, alcohol was supposed to just be consumed on the church property. And I know last year there was a lot of,
Don't look at me.
I don't know.
let's just say,
that I don't know about.
indulging on school property. I just wondered if there would be, a lot of, at least more prominent signage this year about where people can consume and not consume.
That I didn't come prepared to answer. I don't have an answer for you.
I can take care of that.
Yep.
Being that
Okay.
it's my parish, I will certainly, and Father Lennox is here, we'll certainly make sure that, usually what happens is, we have a beer table and we have a wine table. I usually work at the beer booth. And most people stay there, but unfortunately, sometimes people will trickle across the street. They'll see a friend or somebody, and then we had somebody who sent pictures to one of the online publications.
2 years
That
ago.
was 2 years ago. So, and that became a big, not only that, it became a political thing. So we want to make sure that just people are aware of that.
Well, the officers on scene can also, if they see somebody running around with the red cup or whatever they put out, advise them to go back to the drinking area.
Absolutely.
Appreciated. And so, okay, and then the rides are all, none of the rides are going to be in the streets?
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
no.
Normally we go either on the pavement or we own the little land across the street and would go there. And then next year we can go back onto the field and everything when this is just a 1 year, reimagining of the feast. We've done this before. We did it during COVID, so, but
Great.
thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I will hope for good weather for everybody. I'm sure it's going to be as fun as it always is.
I'm excited. I'm going to get to bring my grandson to it.
Nice.
So I motion, I know you didn't ask for it yet, Fred, but I motion that we approve the request for the temporary road closure on St. Rox Avenue for St. Rox Feast.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, going on to the second item under old business, and the final one is the request for the revisions to the Town of Greenwich flag policy. And Assistant Town Attorney Laura McGeach is here. Good morning, Laura.
Yes, good morning. All right. Well, you should have the revised policy once again before you. It has a few blue lines in light of your comments from the first reading. I should just add, so it accepted the prior changes, including all of the new four. What should have been blue line that is a change that is not before you. It's the sentence had read, "A town employee must be present to raise and lower flags on town flagpoles." We added, based on your suggestions, or to supervise other individuals chosen to raise and lower flags
Right.
on town flagpoles. So that's, and then that precedes the blue line that's very apparent. A flag is generally allowed to remain on display for up to 3 calendar days at the discretion of the Office of First Selectman. And again, that was in line with the thinking in the event there's interim flags or any other factors to allow that to be at the discretion based on the calendar. I know there was talk of calendar, but not to necessarily include it in the flag policy, but that's something the Office of First Selectman can handle. And we did add in 3A-B a timely review. So it did say the second sentence following, we added timely review, and with the endorsement of the first selectman or any other select person, a request will be presented to the BOS, and that's by a member of the public.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have. Hopefully, those additional revisions encompassed this board's comments from the first read.
Yes, yeah, and also, thank you so much for doing this, just to tighten it up, and there will be locks going up on the flagpole, so we won't have an incident again where somebody takes something down without permission, so that will fix part of the problem there. But yeah, I'm good. So, did you?
I'm good. Same. I appreciate all the work going into, being very clear about what the policy is.
Yes, I think it's good for everyone to have a clear path on forward.
Absolutely, thank you,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Lauren Raven, I motion that we approve the request for revisions to the Town of Greenwich flag policy. as presented.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. Thanks again. Okay, going on to new business, there's just one item there. It's the request to approve the trial project to inform pedestrian safety improvement plan for Route 1 from Byram Road to Pembroke Road. It's a first read. It's something that we've been discussing with the state of Connecticut DOT. It is right on the border. And we have Michael Kiselak here from DPW, our civil engineer. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, all, and thanks for having us this morning. We have some slides prepared, so I think Ken's gonna bring them up, and I'm probably standing right in your way of seeing them. Do you want me to?
No, we're fine.
No, they should be able to come in the back, too.
Okay, I don't know if they can see around me to,
Okay,
See everything,
we can
but-
move.
You are told.
you can see
You're
Fred?
you're fine, thanks.
Okay. All right, yeah, as you said, we're here today to talk about potentially doing a quick build demonstration project on Route 1 from Byram Road to Pembroke Road. Ken, you want me to just signal you to go next slide? Okay, yeah, next one, please. Do you want to maximize that? Hit the presentation button. Make it a little bigger. Do you want to make it, hit the slide button and make it a little bigger, just so people can see it? Bottom right.
Sorry. Okay, should make it better, I think.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you.
And sorry, it looks like some of the formatting might have gotten mixed up between my computer and the screens here, so sorry about that, and bear with us. Hopefully nothing's too out of whack. So go back one, please. Back. Other way.
Going forward.
Oh, no.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. I'm using arrows. All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. As I said, yeah. So we're looking to do some safety and mobility improvements in this area. It's an area that we've gotten some frequent inquiries about over the years, including from people with disabilities that use the area that look to get across Route 1. There are Connecticut transit bus stops on both sides, and there is some pedestrian infrastructure in the area, but right now there's not really a way to cross Route 1 in what we would consider a reasonable walking distance. Even if you were to go over into New York, there's really not a good way to cross or to walk around to get to a signal. It's a pretty long detour you have to do if you want to use a designated crosswalk. So that's what we're looking to address. We did, thanks to our state representatives, get $450,000 in funding through the Urban Action Grant program to make some improvements here. So we've been working with Connecticut DOT and taking the lead to try to do that. And then if you've also been following along with the Safe Streets Greenwich project, this location has come up as somewhere that's probably worthy of focusing on a little bit more. So next slide, please. There you go.
I'm
And-
seeing that people on Zoom can't see the slides. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Do you want me to wait for Zoom?
I think you have to do share.
I did,
Share your screen on Zoom.
my Zoom is. Sorry.
Okay. So
It's on, so.
it's on. Okay. All right, you can go to the next one. So just to give a map so everybody knows where we're talking about, this is Route 1 going left to right across the screen. The New York border runs along the Byram River on the left side of the screen there. Byram Road's on the bottom, and Pembroke Road is on the top, just to orient people. Route 1 here is a 4-lane road, 2 lanes each direction, 35-mile-an-hour posted speed limit. about 20,000 vehicles a day, which is split about 50-50 each direction. And the corridor we're talking about is about 500 feet long from Byram Road to Pemberwick, or from the state line to Pemberwick. Next slide. So to give a little bit more background on the reasons why we're looking here, we dove a little deeper into the crash data from the Safe Streets analysis that we're doing. We realized that there have been 92 crashes over 5 years from 2019 to 2023, which is the time period we looked at. Most of those, 60 of them, have been at Byram Road, 7 at Pemberwick Road, and 25 if you're coming around that circle to go back into New York where that merges back, so 25 there. But 92 in total, which is considerably more than other intersections in the vicinity on Route 1. And I have more specifics later in the slide if you want that, but it is high relative to the other nearby intersections. Next slide. And we don't want to consider necessarily just the number of accidents, but we also want to consider the severity. So there have also been 10 injury crashes. So give or take 10% of those crashes have resulted in some form of an injury in that 5-year period, including one pedestrian. Plus, we know, thinking back about 15 years, there was somebody killed. A pedestrian was struck and killed crossing Route 1. In this area, so it's definitely somewhere that has been noted as worthy of a little attention. Next slide. So just to recap our goals, so we want to design a safe pedestrian crossing of Route 1 that everybody feels safe using, including people with disabilities that are trying to use the transit that's already in the area, improve that overall multimodal mobility, and then also reduce the number of crashes in terms of vehicles and pedestrians. Next slide. We've looked at a few different things aside from the quick build that we're here talking about today. So the first thing we looked at was just installing RRFBs, the push button activated beacons like we have here in front of Town Hall in many places, but without really making any changes to Route 1 itself. And we got some concerns that given the speed and the width of Route 1, that really wouldn't be a strong enough signal to have cars yielding to pedestrians. Signalization is another thing that's come up, but given the Byram River Bridge project, it's not really something that in the near term we can implement. So we're trying to find something in the next couple of years, or ideally even sooner, that we could implement to give some relief to pedestrians that are trying to get across here. So one thing that fits is doing a potential lane reduction plan through Connecticut DOT's quick build demonstration project initiative. Next slide. So DOT, as I said, has this program for state routes that allows you to try certain projects between the months of May and October. Just because of snowplow operations, they don't want anything out longer than that. And so what we're proposing is to do actually even shorter than that. We're looking to get this set up from probably mid to late August, because you guys are going to want to probably do a second read on this, which we understand. And go through October 31st, which would give us the opportunity to get some good public feedback and see how it operates, once schools are back in session and the traffic picks up a little bit. But hopefully get it implemented a little before that so people could kind of get used to what's going on. We'd also do a lot of data collection throughout the process, which is something the state would want us to do anyway, and really get public feedback throughout it. One thing to note is that the trial does not include pedestrian improvements. It's really to get a sense of the traffic operations. But when we get to doing a final plan, we would obviously look to make all the pedestrian improvements. It's just that we can't be building temporary sidewalks and things like that for a 2-month period. It's not really realistic. So what we want to do is get a sense of, is it viable to really be reducing or modifying the lanes for traffic on Route 1. So that's really the goal of the 2-month trial. We have had preliminary discussions with Connecticut DOT and New York State DOT, which is why we're kind of coming at this on a little bit of a compressed schedule. We wanted to make sure they would even entertain it before we came to anybody. So they are open to it, at least. We've had initial review by both of those agencies, including a third-party reviewer. So they've all looked at this, and we have some details to work out, but we think they're open to it, and we're going to have some more discussions in the next couple weeks with them. So now I'll show you the plans. And we actually have a couple different alternatives on the south side, but so this is the overall plan, and we'll break it down a little bit more into northbound and southbound, make it a little easier to see. Next slide. So coming, southbound from Greenwich towards Portchester, this is, approaching Pemberwick Road. We would look to narrow down the road from 2 lanes to 1 over about a 400-foot length after you come through Western Junior Highway. So merge down to one through lane approaching Pemberwick. We'd keep the right turn lane that goes onto Pemberwick that's there today. And this would reduce the crossing distance from 2 lanes to 1 for pedestrians to make it a lot easier for them to both see what's coming at them and then to get across much quicker and hopefully increase the rate of people yielding to pedestrians going across the street. And it would have some side street benefits as well if cars are only focusing on a single stream of traffic rather than 2. They might be able to have a little bit less that they need to gauge coming across at them. And then this would widen back out right after the intersection so that the bus stop that's there is not affected, and so that downstream traffic getting towards the bridge isn't affected. Next slide. So the other side's a little bit more complicated over at near Byram Road. We actually have a couple options. This is the one that was included in the packet. We have one more that we've since been looking at as an alternative. So if you're looking at this coming from the left, if you're coming from New York, the right lane would be converted into a right turn only lane, which is a third of cars coming through here are already turning right to go into Byram. So that would be funneled onto Byram Road, and then you'd have the left lane would be a through lane and a left turn lane shared. So this would again allow us to have one through lane approaching a crosswalk at the intersection, and it would allow us to tee up that Byram Road approach a little bit more, and then so that hopefully that would benefit a lot of those crashes we've been seeing on the Byram Road approach. Really make it easier for them to get across the road and turn there. So then we would widen back out, right before the Lion House driveway there, so that they're not affected by this. The other option we've looked at, which actually is probably a little more promising from a traffic flow standpoint. Next slide, please. But it does require a little bit more on the New York side, so that's the downside. So we have to work a little bit more with them over there to implement this. But it looks a little bit more practical from a traffic standpoint. So it would tee up the approach coming from Portchester there, which is sort of a triangle now. So that would be more of a true left turn, and then that would get everybody into one lane to begin with coming across the bridge. And then there would so it'd be one lane approaching one through lane and a shared right lane approaching Byram Road. So those right turns would be the same as they are today. One through lane going through, and then a short left turn lane for people that want to go around the circle, which is a relatively minor amount of traffic. And then it would widen back out after the Lion House there again. And then this configuration doesn't really require much on Byram Road itself, actually, which is why it wasn't the first thing we looked at, since it does, get a little bit more into New York. But we think, we have more conversations to have with them, but we think they're open to trying this. And the goal is to, narrow the road and make it a lot easier for pedestrians to get across. Next slide. So with the quick build, these are the kind of materials we'd be looking to use, things that are easy to take up and put up and take down, just paint and tape on the roads, flexible posts, and then some plastic crash barriers, things we can get out really quickly and take down if necessary, and then just signage. Next slide. Nothing too complicated there. Benefits, as I've kind of alluded to, reduce the crossing distance on Route 1 for pedestrians and cars trying to cross, 2 lanes of traffic each way can be challenging. Fewer conflict points with only a single stream of through traffic. Calm traffic a little bit as it's approaching the intersection, and hopefully increase the rate of drivers yielding to pedestrians if we do get to a long-term, scenario where we implement this. Next slide. Obviously, there are some drawbacks. Don't want to be short-sighted and not think through those. Things that could happen. It's there's a fairly short weaving distance coming across from New York into Connecticut. So that's something we'd want to keep an eye on. Going down from 2 lanes to 1, there might be a little bit of a capacity reduction, so it's just something we want to be honest about, but it's not really the goal of this project. It's not we're not trying to increase capacity, we're trying to make it safer for people to get around in different ways. So there might be fewer gaps if you're turning off the side streets, but then when you do find a gap, it should be easier to cross. And then, even though if there might be some drawbacks, what I want to stress is that it's only a trial that we're looking to do, and for 2 months, and they're quick build materials, so if there were any problems, it could come out, at any point if necessary before the end of that planned 2 months. Next slide. So to recap, next steps, we would be looking for the board to give us approval to try this for 2 months, and then get a lot of feedback and see how it went before we move forward with any permanent plans. We also need to get final Connecticut DOT and New York State DOT approval, which is what we're working on the back end, and we think we can get that all squared away by the end of August. And again, this can be removed at any point if it does become too problematic, if people are having problems with this. So I want to just emphasize that. We're really looking to get feedback and see how this goes, so we can, before we move forward with any permanent plans for the area. And then obviously the Byram River Bridge project is coming, so we want to make sure that any eventual plans get coordinated with that, but we think that this plan that we're talking about does give us some opportunities of things we can implement immediately that don't have to wait 2-3 years for that bridge project to get underway. So I will turn it over there for questions, and go from there and give people a chance to comment.
Thank you, Michael. I know we've been working on this for a while, and I know your study timeframe started in 2019, and having lived over in Byram for several years, I walked this and jogged it for many years, and it can be tough. You have to really be careful, especially as people get older. Sometimes reflexes aren't that good, and that's a very dangerous spot there, as is evidenced by the statistics. We're working right now with Westchester County, we're working with Portchester, we're working with the Army Corps, we're working with the state of New York, New York DOT, Connecticut DOT on the bridge project. And just so, because people are going to get confused when they see this, and we just want to make sure that the timelines are out there for people, because we'll get questions and we'll get lots of emails, and people will think that project is starting. And that will be starting soon, but just want to make sure people know that this is not that project and it won't interfere with that. And we'll get the communications out there for people. But that's a big, that's 4 to 5 years of construction there and planning, and ultimately, hopefully a bridge renaming for the Gulliver's tragedy there. So there's a lot going on in that area, but I do think this is a good thing to do. We're going to hear from people who think we shouldn't do this because they're going to look at, as you said, some of the negatives you pointed out, but there's always going to be that. There's no perfect solution. But when you have, when we've done a study here in town where we've identified lots of areas and roads where there have been not only accidents, but there have been pedestrians hit and killed in the last few years. So as we try to get people, as more people are working from home and we're encouraging people to get out there and exercise more, we want them to do so safely. And I think this also has an opportunity there. Again, the number one goal here is safety, pedestrian safety. But have we thought about the bike lane possibility here incorporated into this project?
Yeah, it's definitely something we've thought about, and I think the second plan we showed there, I think either one, we can make sure that there's space for bikes that are coming through on that through lane to get through on a shoulder, so they're not getting blocked by any barricades. But I think the second plan that we showed there would work a little better. We actually, as we showed it, there's about a 5-foot shoulder all the way through the intersection that bikes could utilize.
In any way possible for a protected bike lane, or is it just striping and all that? Because in some jurisdictions, it's very controversial. It's controversial in New York City, but some have protected bike lanes where, God forbid, somebody veers off the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly something we can look at once we determine if it's viable to be losing a lane of traffic through there. That's definitely a detail that we would want to consider. You know, once you've narrowed down to one through lane, you know, there's a long stretch between there and Western Junior Highway that if we don't need two through lanes, then, you know, we'd probably want to widen back out before the signal at Western Junior. But between there, we might have some room, some flexibility to play with to do things like bike improvements, which would be definitely a good alternative to look at.
And I talk regularly with Portchester officials, and we have a great relationship with the county of Westchester. So, I mean, if there's any holdup there, just, you know, keep us posted. And Stuart Raven, who's the village manager, is a terrific guy, and Mayor Marino's very supportive, as is the new county executive, Ken Jenkins. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're stand at the ready to help.
Great. Yeah, we're meeting with them, Stuart tomorrow to talk a little bit more about this. Yeah.
Give them
And
my
I'm
best.
not related.
Not related.
I didn't even think of that.
I just had some feedback. So I lived in Byram also 12 years. I've been in Glenville for, how many? 22. So I've done a lot of the Byram to Glenville driving over the past 30 years. I think what I like about this is when you're coming from Byram Road and you're going southbound on Route 1 and you cross that semicircle, you almost have to immediately get into the utmost right lane. So you are having to look at 2 lanes of traffic, because very quickly, if you're in the leftist lane, you have to go around the circle again. So I think if something improves the folks crossing over the post road, that's appealing. Also, if you're coming from the northbound side and you're coming maybe from like King Street, like I am, on to the post road, the gas station there that has the really cheap gas prices, I think that creates confusion too, because again, you've got people queuing up to get their gas, and then you've got people like trying to bypass each other to get around the gas queue and get onto the post road, and some getting all the way to the right, some not. Yeah, so I think that whole area from a driving perspective is just as tricky as it is from a pedestrian perspective.
Yeah.
Also, feedback that I've gotten from the community was to wait until after the bridge project. So maybe, Fred, to your point, to not confuse it if it goes in front of the bridge project. When is the bridge project occurring again?
So construction on the bridge project, from what I understand, is, you know, they're just starting designs now. So that's going to be a couple-year process. So Fred's saying 2027.
2027, so
Yeah,
to
something
push,
like that.
to push it would push it back 5 years at least, so it's really, I think, incumbent upon us to get this done now.
Yeah, so
It's just an understanding of like
Yeah.
when the bridge project
Well-
actually starts.
Yeah, and we'll get stuff out there, I'll put it in my community blast, we'll put it on social media. We all communicate and go around and talk to neighborhood associations, so we'll continue to get that out there.
Yeah.
And I see Liz Eckert from the BNA is here, so she will absolutely help us.
yeah, so we have the $450,000 grant to use now. So the longer that sits, the more that money gets kind of eaten away by inflation and things
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
seen
So
that happen
we want
before.
to, so we want to, be cognizant of using that money as soon as we can. And there are, it's going to be 2 years before anything gets underway. So if we can help people get back and forth now, then we want to try to do that.
That's great. So I'm just going to say thank you for all the work and thought that's gone into this. And thank you. You gave a preview to the Active Transportation Task Force last Wednesday, and I was on that. So that was really helpful. And of course, it was great to get people who've really been thinking about these issues to weigh in early. But it's not, it's not the wider public. So I am glad to see there are a number of people from the Byram Neighborhood Association here today. I'm sure that they will help get feedback, because August is a really hard time. I'm glad that you've sort of baked in a second read, but August is a really hard time to get public attention. So I'm going to say now I appreciate all the help that I know that the BNA will give us to try to get people aware of what's going on and giving us feedback.
Yeah, thank you. And with the BNA is definitely here in force. So, and so in the next 2 weeks, we'll gather information, comments from people, and we'll, any questions, we'll feed them to you, and we'll, hopefully get that right back to them. Thanks, Michael.
Fred, we have several speakers signed up on this issue. First, we have Rachel Khanna.
Good morning, First Selectman Camillo, Selectwoman Rabin, and Selectperson Jan Stone McGuigan. As you know, I'm Rachel Khanna. I'm the former state. Yeah, I know. I have to
Pull it down. Just,
hold it.
yeah, you can
Okay.
put it down there.
As you know, I'm the former state representative for the 149th District, and last year, my colleagues, Representative Meskers, Arzano, and I secured the $450,000 grant from the state for safety improvements to the intersection at the Byram and Pemberwick roads along Route 1. We requested these funds after discussions with community members and neighbors in both the Pemberwick and Byram neighborhoods who had expressed serious concerns about the safety of crossing from one side of Route 1 to the other. In all our conversations, we heard about the need for crosswalks as well as signaling that would make it safer for pedestrians. And that's what the state approved and granted the $450,000 for. I understand that this is a 2-month trial, but I think it would be helpful for the public to have a bit more clarity on how this proposal addresses the pressing need for safe pedestrian crosswalks at the intersection of Route 1 with Byram and Pemberwick roads. And I hope you and DPW will ensure that the funds from the state are used for the purposes that they were intended for, which is to create a safe pedestrian crosswalk. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And now begins the Byram Brigade. Come on, Alex.
Good morning. I'm going to start that, I started as a Pemberwick person, so,
Yes, you did.
and I've got 64 years of experience in that vicinity. And just some quick comments about it. My first impression is that this plan is facing many challenges, and it's highly likely that this plan will elevate the number of accidents and hazards. It will actually reduce the safety. I would expect many, many more car crashes. Additionally, it's a plan without community input. I mean, I'm pretty active down there. And we just had a BNA meeting last month, and nobody came to address the community. And therefore, there's no way to gauge what the community feels about this. My quick view is that traffic coming from Portchester or down the Post Road will bottleneck into a single lane heading both south and north, and that's going to create one long, single flow of vehicles that would make merging from Byram Road or Pembroke Road almost impossible. So I would expect congestion on Byram Road to be even worse, and I would expect lengthy backups. And if there's an emergency, I forget, like fire trucks or anything won't be able to get through Byram Road. There's absolutely no way. And I can't imagine that Portchester would approve this plan. My takeaway is I'm wondering, should DPW plans be peer reviewed by an outside agency before they actually go ahead? There's been some design flaws in some of the projects in the past, and I think if they were viewed by an outside agency, it would have been apparent. And because I'm not a professional, I don't have any professional experience in this, but I see some major headaches. Can I speak on one other issue?
Sure.
Just quickly, the Byram Sherbert Library, the parking lot there is a mess. There's commercial vehicles parked overnight. The deli workers parked there. There's extended cars parked there for days or weeks. There was an RV Airstream there in February. There's plateless cars. There's a homeless man. There's expired Florida plates there. You got new lab staff parked there. I don't know why. You know all that. But I think the concern is that there's no signage there. I go to the Greenwich Library, and it's patrons only. Right across on the road, William Street, it's 2-hour parking. So there needs to be some kind of consistency with the signage. Thank you.
Alex, thank you. And you and I spoke about this.
Yes, and thank you. I appreciate are you done?
No, thank you. And I'll speak with Joe Williams about signage. And just so people know, there was a homeless, Alex, right, there was a homeless man, and that car was towed last week, but we always send out human services there first to try and help the person. We don't just go there and kick them out. And a lot of times, thank God, they do take the suggestion and the help that's offered. Sometimes they don't. But in situations like that, where there's kids around and everything, we just can't let them stay there. So then another person appeared that everybody thought was the homeless person, and he was, according to the police, was going there for his Wi-Fi. So he was politely told that he can get Wi-Fi in Portchester, where he was coming from. It was very nice, but I mean, again, the people saw that and it unnerved them a little bit. But I'll speak to Joe Williams about the signage. And to your point about the, the traffic going down to one lane, and Michael did point that out, that it's a trial period. That does happen. I did think about the fire engines and the emergency vehicles, would that slow them down? But that's all something that we'll work through with this. And again, it can be stopped. If we find, God forbid, something happens in this 2 month, it'll stop and we'll go to another plan to look at. But absolutely, the concerns are there.
Any plan should include like a bus shelter or something more permanent, especially going into Connecticut. Thank you. I appreciate all your time.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Quiet over there.
He's got the list.
Good morning, Liz.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Eckert. I'm the chair of the Byram Neighborhood Association. And I'm going to be very short because Al Shahadi is really going to speak on our behalf today. But I did want to let you know that this only came to my attention last week, and it came from a private citizen. So going forward, I know there's no legal obligation, and ethical is a big word for it, but maybe just do the right thing obligation. When something big as this is happening in a community and the residents are going to be directly affected, reach out. That's why we have neighborhood associations. Please keep me informed so I can keep our community informed. And I'm all for pedestrian safety. You guys know my husband and my dog were hit by a car in dead center of a crosswalk in Byram. So it's not that I'm totally against this project, but I would like to have more community input before we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And when that happened to Liz's husband, right, they reached out and the town did react, and it took a couple tries with that intersection there, but I think it's working better now, and it's definitely slowed traffic down. So, but point well taken. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peter Alexander, almost 78-year-old resident of the town, and have a grandson now. So I'm really looking out for.
Congratulations, I heard.
I want to make sure you know that what we're talking about here is an urban grant. I'd rather have exurban grants, but I just want to make sure you know that the playbook from Hartford to get the money is very, very complete. I mean, it admits that's what they're doing. But the coolest thing, I think, is the last thing is that flexible speed bumps. Now, we have certainly one of the best police and guys in the field from DPW anywhere. I think we could get a lot of public input from the residents. I'm very prejudiced about Pembroke, of course, but to kind of do this without having the urban grant. I think we could do it for a lot less, and we could do it on our timeline. I mean, the BET still meets every year, so I think not relying on Hartford or DC for the money, we could do it for a lot less, a lot faster, and with a lot more input from the communities. But I have to say, the DPW presenter there, he was sharp. He had it going, and I think when you start listening to us know-it-alls from that western part of town, you'll appreciate it too. I have one other thing to talk about, but I'll come.
Is it relevant for this? Because we also have a executive session coming up, so we don't want to go.
I'll be really quick. It's really relevant to the flooding on the Byram River.
Yeah, because we talk about this all the time and the flooding, but we don't want to go into too many things here.
Oh, no, I just want to, Prime, maybe I'll make you a real presentation, but the flooding in Texas is very, very similar physiographically with what we have there. And one of the big problems is you could walk across the river because it was never more than 3 feet deep. If it was 20 feet or 30 feet deep, by our calculations and my engineering firm in Texas say that it would have been less than half what wound up. So let's learn, and not from just our mistakes.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, and I just know the speed bumps of any type, especially on a road like that, would not be accepted as a friendly suggestion from our public safety units. It would slow them down, as we heard Alex talking about. So, but
The signs for just a little while.
eh,
We can do anything.
by speed bumps on a major road, probably not going to happen. But anyway, thank you, Peter.
Our final speaker is Al Shahadi. Mr. Shahadi, we do have another meeting coming up, so if you could please keep it brief. I apologize, I don't mean to cut you short, but we are coming up against another meeting. Thank you.
I guess my reputation precedes me.
No inference
Time.
intended.
Yes, my name's Al Shahadi. I guess you all know me. I was going to say I'm a longtime Byram resident. I'm an officer of the BNA, and we're here speaking on the BNA on behalf of the BNA leadership because we found out about this so recently. We haven't had time to do the kind of polling of our membership that we like to do before we say, a big number of people are for or against it. But all three of the officers met, discussed what we know, and we would like this plan to be reconsidered. We're against it. So start with the positive. We really appreciate the focus on this intersection. It is a hugely dangerous one. I just drove through it this morning on the way here. And without talking about this specific plan, the idea of a quick build, I think is a good one. So if the town had done a quick build around Corey's Corner, where Liz's husband got injured, you would have found out pretty easily that what was laid out in granite was not enough for the turning radius for trucks coming out of both, and it would save the town a lot of money. So going forward, it's probably a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea here. I think there's three strikes, I'll call it humorously because I know there's a baseball fan here, 3 strikes against it. First, which Alex and Liz already talked about, there's been no input from the community, did not come to the BNA. We're easy to find. We have 4 public meetings a year. We're easy to reach online. We advocate hard. We push town government to meet the needs, but we try not to bite. We try not to scratch. We try not to curse too much. We're polite. We're solutions-oriented. This is the kind of thing we'd appreciate it if the town departments come to speak to us. And if you don't before, you're going to hear from us anyway in a venture like this. Strike 2, the plan is not what the state recommended. So there was a whole road safety audit that completed in 2018 that looked at the 5 most dangerous intersections on Route 1 from town border to town border. This was one of them. The RSA, without going into a whole lot of details, recommended either a hawk signal at the bus crossing, which is almost at the Pemberwick intersection, or full traffic lights at the intersection. Just the distance that people are crossing, the speed of traffic particularly coming down, just a whole host of issues that you really need something stronger than RRFBs. There was no mention of RRFBs in the safety audit. Why do a road safety audit and then ignore what its recommendations are? I'd ask the town to go back and look at those recommendations. It's not really a full strike. Rachel was kind in her description of it, but one of the reasons that this grant was obtained and is $450,000 and not $50,000 is because full traffic lights and hawk signals cost a lot. That's where the town's hesitancy to put that kind of money in is overcome by getting a lot of free money from Hartford. And I'll take, unlike an earlier speaker, I'll take all the free money from Hartford we can, because my taxes go to Hartford, or at least some of my taxes go to Hartford. So, the delegation has gone out of the way to get this big amount of money. Let's use that money to do something, particularly at the Pembroke intersection, where you're not waiting for the Byram Bridge construction to do something much more substantial. The last one is, just as other speakers have said, I don't think this is going to work. A road diet at this busy of an intersection is problematic. There's an enormous amount of weaving going on right now. And maybe
ahead.
go a little further back to the drawing board.
You're ahead of me. Thank you. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for hearing us out.
Al, thank you. No, what I was going to say is we normally do a second read, but we've also done third and fourth reads when it warrants it. And I think, and I apologize, because usually we do send out the department heads and we'll speak, whether it's the police department or DPW, to various groups. So thank you for mentioning that. And again, this is, something, as Michael said, would be a trial period, and it's something, and if we find it doesn't work, we can yank it right away, but there's also some opportunity here also, because whenever there's been lots of accidents and some deaths, and near deaths, it's incumbent upon us to do something, to try something. So I understand that, could cause going down to one lane a little bit of a bottleneck and slow down traffic, but we have to figure that out. And again, my only main concern there is just if a public safety vehicle needed to get through there and that slowed them down. Other than that, the whole point of it is to slow traffic down a little bit. So, but talk to your members, get some, you said, we've heard some of your stuff, I took notes, but also anything else that you all want to send us, we'll get it to Michael. I know Michael's taking notes too, and we'll see if we can incorporate it in there. And again, we're not going to rush this through. We want to make sure that everybody's heard.
I think it would be more palatable for the members, and again, we're waiting for feedback, if this was combined with the hard fix of Pembroke Road. So somebody who's going from bus stop to bus stop could cross there safely, and that's where the hawk signals are recommended with the traffic light. Because that's really that's another separate crossing point, and that's away from the bridge. It could be addressed now.
Yeah, what we're finding is every single part of town and every town has an issue now. And there's a lot of cars. When we were growing up here, there wasn't this many cars, even though there was almost as many people. And it's an issue. And now they're also distracted. And so we want people out there biking and hiking and walking, but it's got to be safety, done safely. So yeah, we appreciate this. We'll definitely, we don't have to do a vote on the next one. We'll try and we will work with you, but we're going to try and figure out some of the suggestions here.
Peter, no. Peter. We have Vin DeMarco would like to speak. He did not sign up, and we have one speaker on Zoom, but given the time frame, if everyone can be very...
Vinny's always quick.
Okay, if you could be very brief, Vin.
Yeah, I just want to maybe repeat, I don't want to repeat anything anybody said, but two concerns. Obviously, we hear that this has to be done before October. It has to be finished by October, and I think that's what Michael had told us at the ATTF meeting too. So there's a really short window here, and even shorter, we only have 2 weeks to the final read. So
Not a final read, it's a second read, so we've done 3 and 4 reads.
Okay, but how does that work with the timing of being able to do that?
I'm going to circle back
So
with
my
him on
question
that.
is it possible to actually have a real workshop on this within that time frame? Because I don't think getting feedback on Facebook and all of that it's not a dialogue.
No one takes no one's getting feedback on Facebook.
And then
we're going to go through the BNA, as you just heard, and also anybody else is free to send, they reach out to DPW directly or to me. They have my number. And we're going to do it. We're not going to sit on this and wait too long, because we could all, you could wait forever for something. So let's do what we said we're going to do. We're going to circle back with the BNA, but others too. Also, I'll sit back with Michael and the engineers in DPW.
I appreciate all the effort that Michael has put into this. At least it's obvious in the slides that he had incorporated some things that he had heard already. So, we've been waiting my whole lifetime. That situation has been that way down there, as you know, Fred. And so we've been waiting a long, long time, and we really want to make sure that whatever is done so that we don't get negative feedback from everybody and say, no way, we're not going to listen to anything you propose.
No, and you're all, listen, I gotta, again, just remind people, you're always gonna get negative feedback. I always say you can put a cure for every affliction in the book on a project and you'll have people against it. At some point, you have to make the decision with the best information you have at the time. And here we have people who have lived here forever, right? And bringing us some information based, also coupled with the data. But we're not, that's the best, some of the times the best information comes from the people. So we're definitely, not going to rush it through, but we want to make sure that we don't wait too long. Obviously, this is, as you said, this is something this has been a trouble area for many, many years. And, I'll talk with Michael about the timeline, and
Great.
we're not just going to approve something because we got a gun to our head. We want to make
that.
sure, when you have an opportunity, you don't want to squander it, and.
No, I get it. I really want to see something done, obviously, but there needs to be much more detail. Thanks.
Thank you, Van.
I apologize to the Zoom people who are there, but I think Ms. Hines has a brief question here, and then we'll cut things off so we can move on. Mr. or Ms. Adams, I'm not sure, but I'm just looking at the clock here. We will recognize Mr. Adams after Barbara. Oh, Patricia, I'm sorry, Patricia, pardon me.
Good morning.
Yeah, did she sign up? I would say we've tried to hold that rule because we've had in the past people coming when we had a rule, and then we end up having people who are supposed to interview or get updated by waiting for 45 minutes. So we have to stick to that. We'll let her speak now, but again, we have to let people know that you got to sign up. Thank you. Hello, Barbara.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Feels bizarre standing on this side of the dais after all these years. I do have a couple of brief questions. I was wondering if there could be an explanation of the accessibility limitations for pedestrians, especially given the fact that there are 2 bus stops on the south side of Route 1. One in front of the Lions House, and then one just prior to the intersection of Western Junior Highway. And then you have the bus stop on the north side of Route 1 near 777. So I'm just curious as to where there is an issue with pedestrian accessibility, and also if there's information in terms of the actual need for pedestrian accessibility. You did traffic counts. I'm just curious as to whether there are pedestrian counts and if that's even feasible. Aside from the fact that there are no sidewalks on the south side of Route 1 between those 2 bus stops. So I'm just curious as to how all of this is going to work when you are narrowing traffic accessibility.
Okay. Thank you. Everything is being noted here, Barbara. Thanks. Yeah, we just don't want knuckleheads like me, like I used to walk in the center strip there with German Shepherds. But
Well, I was just saying, do you remember coming out of Pembroke, you could make a left and go northbound on Route 1? Remember that?
a while ago.
Ms. Adams, you can speak now. I just, please apologize. I do ask you to be brief. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm sorry I didn't sign up in advance. I'm not feeling well, otherwise I would have been there in person. I don't want to repeat what everybody else has said, but yesterday I came from Main Street, and as a Glenville resident, I go to Portchester quite frequently, and it was at about 5:13 p.m., and as you noted, Fred, there's a lot of increased traffic, but there's also a lot of impatient drivers. Like as soon as the light turns green, people honk. So people were blowing through that stop sign by the gas station. People were trying to exit the gas station. People were going around the traffic line for the gas station, and everybody was just in a rush. And there would have been no time for me to move over to the far left lane and make that turn on Pembroke Road. If those obstacles were in the place, it would have pushed me to the right. And it probably would have caused an accident because of the number of, very angry drivers that they were stuck in traffic and a bottleneck there. Coming from Main Street, coming from Route 1, coming from Byram Road, all right in that section.
Patricia, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of angry drivers out there. And I apologize for rushing along here, but we hope you feel better, and we'll certainly, keep your comments in our calculations here, so, in our deliberations. So feel better, Patricia, and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, we
All right,
have some nominations.
thank you. So we'll have some work on this. We appreciate all the comments. They were helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
All righty, I'm just going to do all three at the same time. So Lauren Rabin, I motion that we nominate Richard Kaplan as a returning member to the Nathaniel Witherall Board, position R6 for a term expiring June 30th, 2028. That we nominate Wayne Sullivan as a returning member of the Board of the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals, position R5 for a term expiring October 31st, 2029. And finally, that we nominate Samuel Gonzalez as a new member to the Fair Rent Commission, position A1 for a term expiring June 30th, 2028.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you very much, Lauren. And thank you, everybody. Thanks, Barb, the two Barbs. Ken, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cool, cool, cool.